Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I always like to check my audio before we get going. Hey, Jari. Miss Dog Lover. Oh, we need to solve this. Those poor little girl. Oh, ow, sorry. Well, that's why we're bringing attention to it. If we can keep it in the forefront, cases like this one, Flora, Jordan Sofer, um, and then any of the new ones that kind of pop up, like what's going on in, there's a lot of activity in Washington and Oregon, a lot of missing people. There was a report of 30 kids that went missing, I think in Cincinnati. But this case here, I think it's, in my opinion, it's solvable. And I'm going to do my best to show you why I think that. Good to see everybody. Boston, Copper, Sally, Ray. Been a minute. Patricia. Boston, Beth. There's Beach Fairy. Yeah, you got it, Miss Dog Lover. We got Eric, Indy Pam, and Gail Hurd. Help Me Rhonda says, I'm glad you're covering this case. I live 5 miles from Evansdale. Oh, really? This case needs attention. It is really only talked about around here in July. The girls went missing in July. Thanks, Sleuth. That's sad. Thank you for the comment, Rhonda. Yeah, I went downstairs and do you ever just feel like, dang, I really need something to eat before I, get before you get under like the clock, you know what I mean? You don't just be like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna go make a sandwich real quick. So I went down and grabbed a handful of blueberries. I was like, this seems like a healthy choice. Eric Jones lived in Evansdale until I was 14. My parents said there was an abundance of pedos there. Well, the more true crime that I cover, the more I think it's everywhere. You got to watch your neighbors, you got to watch your family, you got to watch the people at church, at sporting events, coaches, teachers. You just never know. But I believe that there are signs. We learn a lot from the FBI, them questioning. They always learn after the fact. That's the problem with the FBI. But we also have some of these monsters that come forward. They say, "Hey, I'm looking for forgiveness. I can't control myself. Let me go ahead and explain how these monsters they're usually including themselves. Some are female, but they come forward and they explain who they target, why they target them. So I mean, we can learn a lot, and it can help us to see. Dazed and confused. Shout out to the UK. Thank you, Anna. Oh, how late was I? I thought I was only like 5 minutes. Sorry about that. You guys are used to me being like right on time. Been busy today. Yo, what up, Ruckus? Hey, if anybody wants to call in, let me know. Especially you, Ruckus. I'd like your perspective. A law enforcement perspective. That'd be awesome. And I know you've covered this case somewhat, if not a lot. From Minnesota. Hey, Jill. Purdue in the house. What's up? Maserati. What's up? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Olivia, too. Oh, yeah. It wasn't Cincinnati. It was Cleveland. Near some big river, I think. God, you guys remember the Green River Killer? Man, you want to talk about scary. That entire city was petrified. I mean, this guy was trying to reach 100 victims. Oh, man. Can't tell me that's not scary. I don't care who you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. You can't watch your family all the time. You know what I mean? So it's scary, regardless of who you are. Gary Ridgway. I don't know if that's who we're dealing with here. But what I have planned for today is basically some pre-recorded audio that I'm going to put in a video that I'm working on. It's basically going to be an overview video of this case. But we're going to stop and go. We're going to kind of slow it down. That way we can fill all the space with as much information as we can. The mind boggles. Good morning. Ruckus says, Steve and I are going to Evansdale next month. You guys are going to Delphi and Evansdale? Sorry about that. Trying to get a gallon in. I'm almost there. So I might have to go to the restroom. Hey, Melissa. Help me, Rhonda says, I've been to Angels Park and walked the area where they were taken. So tragic. Yeah, is there anything that you know about the case? Anything going on? Anything locally? Anything new? I know they have a new tip line and stuff like that from the old coverage. So I put that in the description if you want that or need that. So if you have any information on the case, that information is right there in the description. Oh, Sparky Do in the house, RMB in the house. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate your contribution in the chat, supporting my channel, becoming a member. Thank you. We're going to do something at the end of the month. I've been hinting to it, but it's going to kind of be not a big surprise, but it's going to be something fun, something that we've done before. And some of my older members know what I'm referring to. So it should be fun. TTM, good to see you. Jane. Indy says, yes, call in Ruckus. Yeah, sometimes they just want to just hang back. Oh, he's out and about. Well, be safe out there, Ruckus. Don't take any wooden nickels. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Hey, what's up, Slatherings? Am I saying that right? Slatherings. Hey, Coach Kev, good to see you. Ridgway picked up victims with his kid in the car before. Incredibly sick man. Yeah, I have a video on it. If you guys want to go through the short list of videos that I have, I did. I covered him. He actually, I believe he parked and left. And at one point in time, he parked and left his son in the car and went and committed a murder. And then there's another time where he picked up a female and he would open up his wallet and he would allow him to see like the pictures of his wife and his kids. Man, it's because the average person, no way they're thinking like this guy just killed 30 people, and then you see these pictures of this kid and you look up at this goofy guy smiling at you, looking like Ned Flanders. You're like, oh, okay, harmless. Especially if you're out on the streets, like most of these women, they were out on the streets. Think about the type of guys they have to deal with. You know what I mean? Those misogynistic types, abusers and things like that. They see old Ridgway, think harmless. And I think that's what's going on with the Delphi case. Richard Allen, oh, this guy couldn't have done that. Ruckus Rock says Delphi, Evansdale, Kokomo, Peru, Flora, Chicago. Going to be a busy week. That's awesome, Ruckus. All I can say, man, is take as much video. You know, if you could, let us know what's going on with you guys out there. Do a whole bunch of like live streams and shit. But yeah, I got to give a shout out to Ruckus. He inspired me to look into a local case here out in Phoenix, Arizona, where I live. And I remember Ruckus telling me in a conversation, he's like, man, it's just different, and I think it was when we were talking about Steve and him going down there. And even Steve said those words to me. He's like, you just, it's different when you're down there. And that's what Ruckus was telling me also before I went down. I think even during a live stream when I went down to check out a crime scene here locally to investigate. Got some really great coverage, great perspective, more than what was available to the from the local media at the time. And Ruckus was like, "You see, because you can smell it. It's awful. It makes you get sick to your stomach. You can see the people that are coming and going. I can see the syringes on the ground, all the cheap alcohol bottles, $5 bills, floating around. Just real, real trashy." Yeah, good work. Shout out to Steve and Ruckus. True Crime Web and Ruckus Rocks podcast. Hey, what's up, Clipped? Sorry you got your wings clipped. Sorry to hear about that. Running loose in Portland, Oregon, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. It's like there's something in the water over there. You have Koberger out there, you have Ted Bundy out there, you got Ridgway out there, you got something going on like recently going on out there. Who else was out there? I'm sure I'm missing like two or three of these iconic mass killers or whatever you want to, serial killers. And hey, talk about the whole region in panic. Washington D.C. Beltway. Oh yeah, the Beltway sniper. Totally random. Went on for weeks. Yeah, if he had a good shot at you, they took it. Yeah, short A. Oh, okay. Slatherings. I think they need. This is from Eric Jones. I think they need to bring in some fresh eyes to look at the case and look at who interjected themselves. Yeah, I'm curious to know if they have any suspects because there was a few interesting people for me when I went over the information. There was one gentleman who kind of interjected himself. He spoke with media and he actually admitted to seeing the girls and waving hi to them. But if you look at where he lives, it's like kind of out of the way a little bit. It doesn't really add up. So I don't know. I've always been a little curious about him because I believe it's somebody locally. Talking about True Crime Web and Ruckus Rocks podcast. Here, let me zoom down. Sorry. I want to stay with the chat. Hey, Randy. Now, don't worry. We're just getting started. We're just having a little bit of small talk before we dive into this case here. Little true crime discussion. Never hurt anybody. Hey, Gail. We just got another Amber Alert. Yeah, there's a family somewhere not doing so good. Take a look at Ted Gamer Dinger. Guy that reported the bicycle. He was police chief's best man. Police chief was dirty at the time at his wedding. Hey, Carol. Yeah, and that case is, oh man. That's what scares me about all of this. It's just so random. Like, yeah, it's prominent and it happens a lot, but it's not. You can never see it coming. I mean, look at Evansdale, look at Delphi. They just, I remember when I was a kid, I would get on my bike and I would ride for 10 miles. I would ride 3 miles just to go knock on my friend's door, and then we would ride, another 8 or 9 miles. It's just different. I used to walk right through the ghetto, like over a mile. And my parents didn't say anything because I was walking with like 12 other kids. We were all walking. It was crazy. It's just different. So for them to just be taken off on their bikes like that, it's just so random for this to happen. Some monster that I think that has seen them before or knows them, or coveted them. And it could have been a spur of the moment. They could, it could have been something like that, like a weird or a random event. But I just don't think so. But I'll see how you guys feel about it. We'll spend a lot of time talking about this case here. Hey, Heather. Eric Jones. I also believe he was related to the people who found the remains. Could be wrong on this point. It's been a long time. Hey, that's possible because the place where they were found, and when I say related, that could be anything. Maybe they work with them. Maybe they've gone hunting with them before. Maybe they have a mutual friend. Maybe they're family. Somehow they could be related. It's a very remote area right there. So it is possible. Yeah, that's a good thought. So the person who found him may not be in on it or anything, you know what I mean? But maybe in the back of their mind, they're like, wow. Kind of like Ron Logan. You remember when he kind of comes down there and he kind of spaces out for a little bit. He's like, wow, somebody had to be with him or something. Somebody had to be walking with him. And it's like he's going through his mind, like, who did I let hunt down here? Who did I take hunting with me that one time? Like, and who goes down that path over there? And he's like thinking in his head. I wonder if the people who found Lyric and Elizabeth did the same thing. Like, wow, like why would they be here? Who knows about this place? I wonder if they went through a list. Purdue, what's up? Mr. Steve and Ruckus plan on doing a live WoW in Kokomo. Thank you so much. Definitely be tuning into that one. Help Me Rhonda says, where they were found, a lot of people who don't live in Readlyn, Iowa or near would not know where Seven Bridges is. Rhonda, can you tell me what's going on with that golf course right there? Do you know anything about that or the employees that work there? For some reason, that jumps out to me, that golf course. Is there any history to that around that time, 2012? Or even that, better yet, even that small town. What is that small town? Yeah, there's like a small town that's just a few miles out. I could see somebody leaving that small town, going fishing at Myers Lake or having business over there in Evansdale or Waterloo or whatever, and then knowing they're getting back on the freeway and heading back home to one of these small little locations out there. And they made the choice. I'm going to take these girls. And it could have been a couple people, maybe, but they were much younger than the victims in the Delphi double homicide, Abby and Libby. They were 14 and 13. These girls were much younger. One by 3 and I think one by 5. So Slatherings. The problem is the political environment is so bad. The serial killers probably blend in with the random violence. Yeah, there was who was it? I think it was the smiley face killer. He got all pissed off because some people came and gave a false testimony or false confession. I'm sorry, and they got arrested for this crime. And he was leaving all kinds of signatures and all kinds of stuff. And eventually, he's like, "Okay," and he just went into I think it was like a truck stop or a rest area or something, and he just scribed in the wall, like, "You got the wrong guy. I'm the killer. Like, I'm the smiley face killer." He may have even like written a note or something. But yeah, you're right. There could be all these serial killers out here, and um, maybe they're just not picking up the pattern. Anna says there's been plenty of weird killers. Yeah, maybe it's just the West Coast killers, California, Colorado, New York. They get more attention in more rural areas. Yeah, we had the baseline shooter, and then we had one time we had a serial rapist that was like all over the news and had everybody scared. Yeah, we're just gonna keep it out there, um, on the forefront. Doesn't hurt to take a look at the case, spread it around, spread the message. I think this case is very solvable. I think it's somebody, um, that has probably a handful of people that knew that they were there. They probably have at least a handful of people that suspect them. So hopefully we can get something done or see something done here in the near future. Beltway sniper, they took out the back seat. Oh yeah. Was it the back seat and they laid flat pointing out of the back of the trunk? Man, crazy. Like what is wrong with you? Friday the 13th, you're right. I wonder if that's just a coincidence. Or did somebody go looking for two victims? I wonder if there was any like strange signatures in this case. I know that they had somebody leaving knives in the trees right there at the crime scene. They had two separate occasions where that happened, but they were actually able to kind of figure it out and track down who did it, I guess. They said it was unrelated. Was it? I mean, that seems really weird. Or maybe it's the same kind of people that kidnapped the girls. You know, there's weird groups of people, weird beliefs, occult beliefs. So I wonder if that could be a possibility, some type of group. Thank you, Purdue. Miss Dog Lover says, I saw a theory about someone taking the girls away in a vehicle at the end of the trail. Surely law enforcement checked cameras. What? I mean, there's probably not a lot of cameras. There was a security camera that caught the girls riding their bikes. So they were able to verify, create somewhat of a timeline, and we'll spend some time on that as well for sure. R&B is asking, are there still investigators on the Evansdale case today? Yes. It is an open case and they are actively working that case with new information. So if you have anything that you can help with, numbers in the description. Even if you think it's just weird, like, oh, well, I heard somebody that I know was in town that day. Let them know. Oh, well, there's a weird guy, you know, he kind of looked strange when I was going, you know, through there. I'm pretty sure it was that day. Call him. Anything. If you were there that day and you saw something weird, give him a call. Anywhere between there and the Seven Bridges or even that whole surrounding area. Beach Fairy says Dan Morrissey is very dodgy too, but not everyone violent is violent towards their own kids, but for sure doesn't help him. Well, he kind of reminds me of like a Derek German character, somebody with like a little bit of a sketchy path, so it makes him an easy target. You know, and it also makes them guilty. You know, anytime anybody's asking them a question, they just look guilty. You know what I mean? But I think I have a really good article. If we have time, we could touch on it. But he goes in depth about everything. He goes in depth about his drug use, about how he felt about the case, his reaction, and it's very sincere. And I don't think a lot of people have read it or give it much time. Help me, Rhonda. Don't believe Delphi is connected. Yeah, I don't think so either. But I mean, the dates and everything, you know, are very strange. Very, very strange. I think it is possible, but I don't believe it is. I think it's more related to the same type of motivation, maybe. A lot of killers will pick that day, whether it's Friday the 13th or just the 13th. But I don't know if that played a part in any of this. I'm just saying it's possible. And that could be the link, that could be the reason why it seems so strange that they were trying to accomplish the same thing in this case that they were in this case through numerology, maybe. So it's like they could be connected in different ways that we haven't really thought about. Thank you, Purdue. Yeah, if you guys can hit the thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that. Does wonders for my channel. It really does. It's like crack for YouTube. They like it for some reason. They're like, oh, you like this video? We're going to go ahead and show it more. So if we can help them, they'll help us. Good to see you, Digital. Let's see here. For some reason, I've always thought someone told Lyric and Elizabeth to come to the park that day because they specifically asked somebody how to get there that day. And she did have a phone. It wasn't hooked up or anything, and I don't know if you could do anything with it. But I don't know. I mean, this was 2012. I had my first cell phone in 2000. You couldn't do anything with it. So by 2012, you had to be able to do get some kind of app, connect to Wi-Fi even maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if it plays a part. I mean, why would she have it? Did it have like Tetris on it or something? Might have just been for games. But she did have a phone and she left it. So that's kind of like another similarity with the Delphi case, I guess, if you think about it. The phone. Okay, let me just play this audio. It's only like 2 minutes long. We'll stop. We'll pull up some pictures that I'm going to go ahead and apply to the video. And then I'll just go through all the information I've gathered on this case and get your opinion. Let me know if you guys can hear this. The Evansdale murders refer to a tragic and unsolved double homicide case that occurred in Evansdale, Iowa in July of 2012. Did you guys hear that? What's up, Tech? Help me, Rhonda says, I don't believe there is a golf course in Readlyn, not one in No, it's right next to the Seven Bridges wildlife area. It's like connected to it. If you go all the way to the northeast corner, it connects with the golf course. And I'll show you the map here in a minute. Thank you, Purdue. I appreciate that. Olivia says, rumor was one of the girls spoke with someone online. Yeah, I remember back. Well, I don't know if it was that far back. It was actually. Do you guys remember like when chat was normal when it first came out? For like a year, you could go online, you could go to like a sports chat room and just talk about sports. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, all this weird stuff started happening. So I don't know what she could do with the phone in 2012. Maybe like a chat room or something. Maybe somebody set it up for her. I don't know. It's probably not even involved, really. 8 and 10-year-old kids are too young to be riding bikes around town without supervision. I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't let my kids, but I'm not going to judge them. I believe you should. Yeah, maybe that's a better way to look at it. Like, you should be able to. But yeah, Carol, maybe you're right. Digital Anna, but I've heard it's very tricky to find the entrance. Like, people know where it is, but can't find how to get there. Yeah, we're gonna pull up aerial views, close-ups of where they found the girls' bikes, um, purse, and phone. All right, let's keep it moving. The victims of the case were two young girls named Lyric Cook-Morrissey, who was 10 years old at the time, and Elizabeth Collins, who was 8 years old. On July 13th, 2012, Lyric and Elizabeth were reported missing after they went for a bike ride to Myers Lake, a popular recreational area in Evansdale. All right, let's pull up some pictures here. So this is going to be Myers Lake here. Good to see you, Beth. Stephanie, it's not safe for young kids to be alone nowadays. Yeah. I mean, and that just really sucks. The randomness of this is just, I mean, you just never know, when the guy up the street is like grooming your child or something, you got to know. You got to keep your eyes open. But an interesting thing is they had to drain this lake here, Myers Lake, eventually. And this is where the bikes were found over here. And there's actually a crossing back here where you can cross this freeway to another park. It's literally mirror image just on the opposite side. But it's a river, not a lake. What's up, Eminem? Good to see you. It's interesting. Beach Fairy says, I don't often feel safe walking alone as an adult now, let alone being a kid. Yeah. Hey, Colette. Good to see you. What are you up to? Let's see what Gail Hurd is saying here. Children should be able to ride bikes anywhere. The problem shouldn't be there. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like they shouldn't, but it's like they are, I had the same thought, same time. We didn't have to worry back in the 60s. Yeah, it's just different. Bam. Miss Dog Lover with the super chat. With kids, you need to watch their every move. You can't take your eyes off them for a second. I agree with that. Like, you can't be too worried, I guess. You can never be too worried about your kids. Myers Lake is a man-made lake that is fed by the Cedar River. Yeah, they really had to do was dig a hole and then run a tube from that river all the way over here to this hole, and the water's just going to flow right on in. What's up, Tax? The killer's home is somewhere in that aerial photo of the lake. You think so? Hey, you might be right. Because their bikes were found over here. And this is a really small, like wooded area. They could have parked anywhere right there or lived right here. Yep. I agree with that. That's very possible, Tax. Good thought. 20 tab. OMG, do you have new evidence? I know that there is new evidence. Um, I haven't heard any details. There's actually been a lot of new tips coming in. Um, I believe one was involving a possible connection to another crime, and then something that I absolutely they're keeping completely secret right now. So yeah, there's still movement. True Crime Web has some great videos detailing these spots in a near Evansdale. Mr. Steve and True Crime Web went to Evansdale and will be going back in July. Yep, and I'm looking forward to it. All right. Here's a really good view. So the girls' bikes were found like right here. Now there's a few interesting things here. There's a road here, and there's not much going on here, and there's actually trails that cut through an opening in the fence right here where their bikes were found. And there's a trail that goes right here through these woods to this little trail that crosses over the freeway. Or no, excuse me, over here. It actually goes under. I apologize. So there's a trail here that goes under the freeway. So you can walk right here through an opening in the fence and go to this trail and cut under. So I'm wondering if it's possible if their bikes were just brought back over here. You know, maybe something happened down here. This looks extremely secluded. I wonder if it's like a big overpass. But yeah, tax. I think you're onto something because where their bikes were, there could have been a ruse here, right? Some kids, some teenagers, somebody right here that maybe just fooling around. For whatever reason, they're here. Hey, you want to come see? You want to help me find my cat, my dog, my puppy? You want to see puppy? Yeah, just put your bikes right there, and then follow me over here. Because there even could have been a vehicle maybe right here parked. Because I believe they came in from here. Came in through the neighborhood, came into the entrance. Either that or they went directly this way. But I believe they went around. Yep, I agree with that, Beth. Beach Fairy says, I'm sick of people who abuse kids getting off with light sentences or early releases, reoffending, lock them away forever. You don't come back from crimes like that. Well, I think it's possible. It's not likely. I think the percentage is very low of anybody that's been rehabilitated or who can control themselves. The problem I have with this is they give these light sentences when they know that there's a high likelihood that they will reoffend, but they're just giving these light sentences. I don't understand. Good to see you. They are about to put the hammer down on some dudes, maybe. Yeah, there's something going on. They got new information. There's movement, and if somebody out there has any information that can help with that movement, now's the time. Give them a buzz. Anything, even if it seems really weird. Like, man, I don't know why that guy was doing that, or I don't even know why that woman was doing that. You know, I thought it was really strange, but it was a girl. So, a girl's not going to kidnap these kids, even if you saw a girl. Stephanie says justice for Elizabeth and Lyric. So if you guys could share this around, or even just kind of put a little message somewhere, or I mean, it couldn't hurt, especially if you have Facebook groups, or a YouTube channel. Like, you don't have to go make a video or anything. That'd be awesome. Here's a really good picture. Okay. So they came in from this direction here and rode in on these trails. And their bikes were found like over here somewhere. Maybe even back here a little bit. Somewhere in this small stretch, there's an opening in the fence, and a trail kind of takes you through this little wooded area. But also, this looks like a good ambush spot right here that they may have chose, because it doesn't look like there's really anything going on right here. So maybe they could ambush from right here. I just don't understand why the bikes, they were leaning up against the fence. Like, they weren't thrown down like they got like a snatch and grab. It was almost like they had a conversation with somebody and they were like, "Oh, just put your bikes here. We'll put your bikes like this, and then don't worry, we'll be right back. I promise." Or it was a snatch and grab, and these whoever did it came back and staged the bikes. Yeah, Beth, that's crazy. Do you remember the story where the guy tried to put that metal or something, like a rope or something, around a cashier's hand at I think it was like a Taco Bell or something. It was some fast food restaurant. And she went to give him his change, and he tried to wrap this something around her arm and was going to just drive away and yank her out of the window and like pull her in. It was so scary to see that. Like, as a father, my blood was boiling. I had my teeth clenched. Colette says, "Hey Sleuth, do you know when that walk is in Delphi?" I think it is pretty soon, right? Ruckus? Purdue will know the date. She posted it earlier. It's in like a couple weeks, I think. Hey CJ. 'Cause, Okay, here's the entrance over here. And I don't think it looked like this during that time. I'm not sure. But if you notice, if you take this trail here, you can actually, it continues on this way and goes right here to this other location across the freeway there, or the highway, whatever that is. And there's a parking area and there's a road. I think there's also a turnoff. I think that might be it right there. You can kind of see the road here. But there might be a boat ramp over here. I'm not sure. All right, let's continue on with this audio here. A massive search effort was launched involving law enforcement agencies, volunteers, and community members. So let's take a look at the search here. It's a candlelight vigil. Yeah, that's terrifying. All right. You guys hang tight real quick. I'm going to take a little 2-minute break. I'll be right back. All righty. Let's see here. Help me round to 7 Bridges is about 20 to 25-minute drive from Evansdale. It's like 25 miles, right? Yeah, I don't think the phone had service. It's all from the candlelight vigil. Wapsie Ridge Gold Course is west of Fairbank. How close is that? And this course might not be in service now. You almost got to see it. I don't think it was even active then, but there's a golf course there. I don't know if it plays. Yeah, I'm just asking. Just curious. I like to ask those kind of weird questions. Questions nobody nobody else is asking. Maybe for a reason. I don't know. I'm glad you got help. Know that through PTSDs. Talking in chat. That was a good theory, Eric, early on, and I think that's why they drained the lake. Not sure. I mean, you got to drain the lake. You can't go searching until you drain that lake. Um, but yeah, I think they did question somebody that was fishing there. They definitely looked into that theory for sure. They may have even questioned somebody that was fishing near where the girls' bikes were found. Yeah, these are a little bit newer. Because I think the park is different. Those aerial ones, most of them are a lot newer. It didn't look like that at the time. Yeah, Beth, it is. But knowledge is power, you know. Unfortunately, their bikes and personal belongings were discovered near a recreational trail at the lake, but the girls were nowhere to be found. Tragically, on December 5th, 2012, hunters discovered the girls' remains in a wooded area known as the Seven Bridges Wildlife Area in Bremer County, about 25 miles north of where they were last seen. The cause of death and other specific details have not been publicly released. Okay. So let's take a look at this Seven Bridges area. Let's go ahead and put the distance between the two in perspective a little bit here. This might give you a better idea. Myers Lake, it's about a 30-minute drive, apparently 21.1 miles. Miles south. You need to get yourself a new map. Let's see here. Here's another one. I think we'll start with all the aerial. It's right there. So right here, you can see it basically is a dead end, and I think it turns into a dirt road here because I think it washes through there, or there's a creek or something, maybe a small bridge. I'm not sure, but you basically would pull in here, and it looks like this might be the more popular area, the Seven Bridges, but the girls were actually found this way. So it was almost like a secluded area of a secluded area. Typically you would go over here, but there was a smaller road that went back here, and it's a really nice looking campsite. So somebody knows and somebody's familiar with this area. This is somebody's spot. You see this huge bonfire, you see how secluded it is. Somebody really loves this spot. A group of people, family members. The fishing has got to be tremendous right here. Who is familiar with this, and who do you believe was acting suspicious around that time? Call it in. So here's a better look at that little spot here. So I bet this was hunting as well, because there's where the girls were found. The vehicle most likely parked just like these investigators are parked, and then either walked the girls or carried them. But they went way back this way. So that parking area was back this way. They walked all the way through the woods and placed them right here near a wash, it looks like. So I mean, they just threw them out, but they had to know this trail was here. This looks like if we're okay, let's say if you were camping at this spot, this looks like where you would go shooting, right? Like, hey, let's just walk over here and we'll shoot towards this little embankment. Unabomber was found dead in his cell. That's a good question. I don't know why they went there. I know their grandmother was watching them, and they just kind of were like, "Hey, we're gonna go take off on our bikes." And she was like, "Well, don't go too far," you know. Yeah, there's like a golf course right over here. Did I already show like another? No, maybe I don't have one that zooms that far out. So that is Seven Bridges. As law enforcement authorities have withheld certain information to aid in the investigation. Despite extensive efforts by multiple law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, the case remains unsolved. Those with information are encouraged to call the Cedar Valley Crime Stoppers at 855 300 8477 or email our missing Iowa girls at dps.state.ia.us. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up. This is something I created. Kind of goes over the timeline. Pull these comments down here. So this is where they started out. Left the grandmother's about 12:23 p.m. from this location. The girls were spotted at 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Here. And this might be where they were caught on camera. I'm not sure. The bikes and the purse were located at 4 p.m. Right here. That's where I was showing you guys earlier on those other maps. Yeah, Stephanie, there's not a whole lot of info out there. That's why we got to kind of keep providing it. And I think this is actually the camera footage. And that's supposed to be the girls, I think, back here. So maybe they got a timestamp. Crazy. It's one of the girls' fathers, Drew. He's a huge advocate, and still working night and day for justice. Screenshot here. Part of the search. Part of the search. And they were actually stopping vehicles and questioning them. Asking if they seen anything strange. Let me pull up my notes here. These are going to be super random. Let's see here. They had a phone, but not activated. Time and day. Authorities never publicly revealed the cause of death because they believe it is information only the killer would know. The offender profile concluded in part that the offender is familiar with both Myers Lake Angels Park in Evansdale and Seven Bridges Wildlife Area. The suspect chose Seven Bridges because he or she was familiar with the area and knew it was secluded. The offender blends in with and may be part of the Evansdale, Bremer, and surrounding communities. The suspect likely used quiet coercion to gain the girl's compliance into leaving Myers Lake, using a ruse, threats of violence, and that other possible characteristics include. These are my notes. The suspect may have been experiencing stress related to legal troubles, spousal problems, employment difficulties, financial strain, or mental health issues. Around July 2012, the suspect may avoid discussing the case or showing interest in the matter, but is likely following developments in the media. And I took that directly from what the FBI was saying. So that part, and I think somebody else was discussing the FBI profile and saying that it may have been off, that they didn't really they didn't agree with it. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm getting that mixed up with the Green River killer. They thought it was somebody that lived with the mother or something like that. They never suspected a family man. They thought it was like some kind of closet case type. Sorry about that. Disregard. Following the disappearance, the suspect may have altered his or her physical appearance, such as changing hairstyle or facial hair. The offender's vehicle may also have been altered with a new paint job or reupholstery. Analysis experience with prior abduction cases points to one person being involved, but there are cases where more than one person was involved. So, just an accumulation of things I thought pertained to this specific case and what I thought may have happened. Here, I got some more notes. Let's take a look here. Oh, the guy's name. Yeah, I probably won't blast that out there. Um, but he was the last person to see them, and this is a quote from him. They just went by on their bikes. That's what he said. Let's see here. At one point, they were looking at a vehicle. We can look at this. This is an old article that I had when I first started reviewing this case. Let's pull it up here. Radio Iowa contributor. Doesn't have a name. The parents of a northeast Iowa girl who disappeared along with her cousin last July are somewhat hopeful after learning of a new lead in the case. Elizabeth Collins and Lyric Cook-Morrissey were last seen on July 13th, 2012, riding their bicycles in Evansdale. The girls' bodies were found on December 5th in a wooded area of Bremer County, about 20 miles away from Myers Lake, where their bikes and some personal belongings were found. No arrests have been made. Let's take a look at this photo here. Searchers and others gathered at Myers Lake, July of 2012, after the disappearance of Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins. So it looks like a bunch of people are searching around the area. Evansdale Police Chief Kent Smock says investigators are constantly searching for clues. They found something this week. We realized that we have 3 different people, 2 early on and 1 just a couple months ago, that came forward with information that identified a white SUV type vehicle, Smock said. Each witness reported seeing an older, box-style SUV at 3 different locations near Myers Lake on the day the girls went missing. Elizabeth Collins' father, Drew, that's the gentleman that I was showing you a few moments ago, is hoping the new information will lead to an arrest. We were, and this is in quotes, we were hoping for more information, something more than this vehicle description, but we are just always waiting for the day to find out what really happened, Collins said. Heather Collins, Elizabeth's mother, is urging anyone with information to step forward. We are already going on a year. We had really hoped to have found the person who did this. God, that's so sad. Collins said, police believe the vehicle in question may have looked like a Chevy Suburban, a Ford Bronco, or something similar. Oh, here's that article. Maybe we can finish. This one's kind of long-winded, but I think it's really good. Let me just catch up on chat before we get going on this one. Like, this is how long it is. Guess it's not too bad. This one's from kwwl.com. We've got you covered. News 7. September 27th, 2018, titled A Conversation with Lyric Cook's Father from Behind Bars. So apparently he was in jail at the time. Help me, Rhonda says definitely could have been fishing there, I believe. Yeah, I mean, that's a good theory because if he sees these girls riding his bike and he's kind of over there, maybe he's getting ready to leave even, and they're like, and maybe he had maybe a little puppy with him or something, something that got their attention. He gets all loaded up and he's like, you guys just hang out here, and then I'll come over here and I'll let you guys play with the dog or, some kind of ruse. And most likely snatched him right there. But there was a theory that somebody could have taken the girls and maybe covered them up in a boat and just took them out with the boat as they left. That could be, that kind of seems like that might be what happened. Either that or they lived extremely close, like Tax Cut was saying earlier. Ann says, in my opinion, this perp had been scoping out the secluded area for a while. Yeah, it's like a It's like the Monon High Bridge, that choke point on the south end. I mean, especially if there's nobody home in the Weber residence, man, you are just out there alone. Bismo Funyon says, to be honest, I thought Richard Allen may have had something to do with the Evansdale case. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it seems like it's more possible now that we know about Richard Allen. You know, hey, and maybe it'll get more. We'll see more of a possibility the more he talks. If he talks, hopefully he does. All right, let's jump into this. We got about 20 minutes to hang out. Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins went missing July 13th, 2012. About a year and a half later, Lyric's father, Dan Morrissey, was sentenced to 90 years for multiple unrelated drug charges. Early on in the investigation of the disappearance of the cousins, Lyric's parents spoke to KWWL a handful of times. We haven't heard from Dan or Misty Morrissey in nearly 4 years, but recently, Dan has decided to share his story and speak exclusively to KWWL. July 13th, 2012 was a nightmare for the two Evansdale families. A few days after Lyric and Elizabeth went missing, Lyric's parents spoke to a group of several reporters at Myers Lake that's where the girls' bikes were found. Lyric's father, Dan, in an interview nearly 5 years ago, in quotes, "It's hard enough to get up and deal with the reality that your daughter is gone." FBI divers were called in to search the lake and eventually decided to drain it. Behind the scenes, investigators were also conducting interviews. But besides waiting for their two little girls to come home, Dan found himself in and out of court on previous unrelated drug charges. In one of the court hearings, he wore a Bring Elizabeth and Lyric Home shirt. He even spoke to KWWL after the court hearing about his daughter, making a plea to the public for their safe return. In quotes, Lyric, if you're out there, I love you, baby. I just pray that you're okay. Sadly, the bodies of Lyric and her cousin Elizabeth were found 5 months later at Seven Bridges Park in Bremer County. About a year later, Dan was sent to prison, convicted on those earlier drug charges. Now he is spending at least 30 years at Fort Dodge Correctional Facility in Fort Dodge, Iowa. For years, KWWL has asked for an interview with Dan. This time around, the prison turned us down. But Dan wanted to speak with us. He wanted to share his side of the story. Dan's daughter, Lyric Cook, was born October 2nd, 2001. She'd be 15 now. In quotes. Oh, she'd still be smiling and loving everybody. She was just the type of girl that would just brighten up a room. She was just so wonderful just to be around. So trusting and so loving, says Dan in a phone interview from prison. Dan says he thinks about Lyric every day, and getting through her death has been a process, a long, difficult process. In quotes, I have God first, and I just understand that I need to start to live and to be thankful for every moment that I had with her and be grateful for the opportunity to be able to raise her and to love her and to know who she is, says Dan. He says authorities give him yearly updates on the case, and he's been open and honest with them. Dan says despite his troubled past, his past drug use has nothing to do with his daughter's death. In quotes. Yeah, it doesn't even make sense if you think about it and play it out, said Dan. You know why would this happen? If I had any idea of somebody that was in my life that I owed money to or had threatened me or anything, you'd think I wouldn't know who that person is. You know what I mean? So I mean that would be the number one suspect on the case, and this thing would have been solved a long time ago. But there is absolutely nobody in my life that I owe money to or that I have told on or anything like that. That has nothing to do with my daughter. And why would they abduct Elizabeth and my daughter at the same time in another town that my daughter's not even from on a random bike ride that nobody knew they were going to take? It doesn't make sense. Dan says he's not sure what happened to his daughter and niece, but he believes the murderers' days are numbered. In quotes, time is not on their side as far as they have to live with this every day, and so they can't hurt me anymore, said Dan. They can't hurt her anymore because I've moved on with my life, and my daughter doesn't have to suffer in this world or anything. So the only person that is suffering now is this person and the other people who haven't healed like they should yet. Very interesting interview. All right, guys, we're going to hang out another 10 minutes and we will discuss the case. Anne says Perp had to have had a link to that Seven Bridges site that wasn't random. 100%. I believe that will be the key to solving this case. Seven Bridges. Anybody that knows anybody that ever went to Seven Bridges, call the number. If you were even driving past there around that time, call the number. Gail says, seems to me like these bad dudes are put in the pen and rewarded for their evil doings. Hi, Jill. Right. Sissy9393 says they should have put hidden cameras there. I bet he has been back. Well, I was telling earlier that there's a really creepy story about law enforcement getting a call saying, "Hey, there's a knife stuck in the tree right here where the girls were found." They go out and investigate it, and I guess it happened like on the anniversary or something like that. But it happened multiple times. I don't know if they're taking it serious or they were able to, understand what it was. I'm not sure. But to me, that's really creepy. Whoever would do that is just really weird. Thank you, Jill. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We're constantly going live. Um, in my spare time, I work on the channel. I don't go out drinking with the guys, or you can catch me golfing, um, in a meeting, or playing Mario Kart, getting beat by my wife, or hanging out on my YouTube channel. It's actually doing pretty good right now. Hopefully, we can keep it that way. Make sure you drop a comment if you're part of the replay crew. I'll get back to you. Hey, Polly. Good to see you. I pray for the right tip to come in for fresh eyes to review the case. That's a great prayer, CJ. That's a good one. I second that one. Oh, is that the news of the Unabomber? Let me go ahead and pull this up. The Unabomber was old, and they are saying in the New York Times possible suicide. Yeah, there's no way that you're just driving 25 miles up the street with these people in your car that you just kidnapped and killed. You're not driving around looking for a spot. You made the plan and you went and did it. Yeah, I agree with that, Anne, as well. Yeah, this case is extremely sad, just as sad as the Delphi case. Um, and it's solvable. Somebody knows something about this case. They know. The ITMO project, Drew is a beautiful, beautiful human being. From some of the creators and investigators that I've spoken to who have dealt with Drew, they say the same thing. They say if you're ready to work, he's ready to work. He's very active, very passionate about it. I'm not a hostile person, but I really think I could bitch slap those perps. Perps? Good night, Miss Dog Lover. Thanks for hanging out. Inquisitive, what up? Replay crew? Yeah, let me know what you think, man. Drop a comment. Share it if you could too. I guess it's like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon or something like that. Maybe I'll put an echo on that later. Thank you, Purdue. I don't want no script. Oh, snap. Is that really you, Drew? Good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping in the chat. I appreciate that. If I can do anything to help you, man, my email is sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Let me know if there's anything that I could do. Purdue says, may the Lord keep you close during this time, Drew. Our thoughts and prayers with you for justice. All right, I'm getting all choked up. Hey, Cynthia. Good to see you. Part of the replay crew, I guess. Let me see. Let's go to Drew. Party spot in the middle of Boonesville. Yeah, we had a spot in where I grew up here in Arizona, and we kind of had to drive down this dirt road, and it would be these huge just ragers out there, with all the high school kids. But this place reminds me more of, when I look at the Seven Bridges area, it reminds me more of like a place that you might drive to from Evansdale to go camp there. You want to get away, but I don't know. That's just what I think of when I see it. Thank you, Nana. Nana 72. All right, we got about 5 minutes, and then I got to get out of here. Want to give a shout out to everybody that participated in the chat, hung out. Drew, my heart goes out to you. Like I said, let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you. That's a good question, Drew. You got it. Thanks again. Hey, there's Deb. How you doing, Deb? Yeah, and I meant it, Drew. If you need anything or if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Thank you, Ann. All right, guys. On that note, I got to get out of here, get some dinner in my belly. But I appreciate everybody hanging out. And if you could share this around, if you have any information, all the email, the tip line, Crime Stoppers, all that information is there in the description. Even if it seems weird, even if it seems weird, or if it's just something that's been bothering you, but it just didn't really make sense, just call it in. I mean, what could it hurt? Let law enforcement sort it out for you. Itmo Project. We love you, Drew, and won't ever stop trying to find out who the monster is. Yeah, we're not going to stop. We have this platform. This is what we do to help, and that's what we're doing. Documentary coming soon, very soon. Can't wait. All right, guys. Have a very safe weekend. And I'll probably not see you tomorrow. If I do, it'll just be something that spur of the moment, but most likely we're going to check in again and we'll talk about the Delphi case Monday, and some of the things that are going on with that. And on that note, enjoy your night. Peace out. Thanks again, Drew. Like I said, that was a real invitation. So if there's anything that I can do to help, please let me know. See you guys.